Telling you, man. What's up with you, bro?
Dude, I just gotta say, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me for a little bit tonight. I know it's middle of the week, and time is always of the essence with a man as busy as you are. So I truly appreciate you squeezing
No
me in.
worries. No worries, man. It's just I mean it's one of those. And honestly it's busy season, so it's literally when it's middle of cheer and powerlifting, man. So it's kind of like you just kind of you find that you have to make the time. There's no really finding time
Oh, for sure.
nowadays, man.
Yeah, for
Especially when
sure.
you're trying to get things going in life, man.
Well, that's
So
and that's why I truly appreciate. I know and as our listeners will get to know a little bit more about you, this time together is truly valuable. So I appreciate it. We're gonna jump right in, and if it, like we have done in the past, we have a kind of a set bit of questions that we like to ask. But as always, I'm much bigger fan of letting the conversation flow as it goes, and tangents are the
without a
best,
doubt.
and things like that. So for our listeners, thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode. This is a podcast that's a few weeks in the making. A few weeks ago, getting geared up for UCA College Nationals. Got to run into a buddy I hadn't seen in many, many years and catch up. He is one of the cheer coaches at Texas State. They were in Schertz, Texas with Stars Vipers. They're using the facility to run the routine a few times as they were getting ready to head down to UCA College Nationals out in Orlando. And Ellis McClain and I got to catch up a little bit, talk some shop, got to pick his brain about some of the things that he is an expert in and one of the top in the world in, and how he is applying some of these things to his cheer athletes. Just as a quick background, and I'm going to give quick bullet points because I want to hear you tell the story, because you can obviously tell it a whole lot better than I can. Ellis McClain has a history not only in cheer but also in powerlifting. Arguably, and I will argue for you when I say arguably, one of the strongest men on the planet, and also one of the nicest men on the planet.
I appreciate that.
It's hard to find a more genuine soul and genuine athlete and genuine giver back, not only to those around him, but to the rest of us in the cheer world. So it is an honor to have you on the podcast, sir. And I gave you a brief introduction, but for those of our listeners and those that aren't really familiar with your story and how you've come to be where you are in the cheer world, tell us more about the history of Ellis McClain.
Man, that was probably that's probably the dopest intro I've had in probably forever. I'm definitely I'm gonna soundbite. Those are all soundbites.
Yeah, go for it.
No, brother, I have literally been, I guess, officially in cheer since 2001, and I actually was going to Abilene Christian. I transferred to Abilene Christian University to play football and run track, and my sister was just a straight beast tumbler and cheerleader. So all throughout high school and some of college, I just watched her do her cheer thing, man. I thought it was cool. Me and my buddy, we tried stunting a few times, man. It was mainly just for the girls, not necessarily for anything else. Like a lot of us started with.
Yeah, man.
But ended up, man. At one point, we had a scrimmage, and I was just, I was a knucklehead. I'll be the first to admit I was a big time knucklehead, but I was killing it in the scrimmage, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was on my fourth or fifth touchdown, but so the cheerleaders were at the scrimmage, and I just saw this redhead chick tumbling down the sidelines. I was like, "Yo, that's what I want."
Right?
And so during the scrimmage, I'm sitting trying to spit game at her, throughout the scrimmage. 2 weeks, my coach wasn't very, very pleased, of course.
Oh, of course.
And her answer to every one of my questions was, "If you want to know about me, you got to come to cheer tryouts.
Oh, man.
If you want to spend time with me, you got to come to cheer tryouts." All of this stuff, man. And eventually, man, I was like, "That's never gonna happen." Um, so I go to run back out to get on the to get in the scrimmage. Coach is like, well, since you're so chatty, why don't you still stay on the sidelines since you want to chat so much? I'm like, you got to be kidding. So I went right back there, sat back down. I started talking to her, and she convinced me to pretty much, man, through a very cunning way, and of course, just sheer beauty, man. I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna come. I'll go. And so after the spring game, I think we had a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I should say, before cheer tryouts started. I knew nothing. I couldn't do a thing, and come to find out, she had a boyfriend the whole time. So I'm going to these prep clinics.
Womp, 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 womp.
Yeah, man, right? Womp, womp, womp. So I go there, and her boyfriend happens to be, he's like the best guy on the team, and dude was, doing all kind of stuff. I was like, I'd never seen this stuff before, so I was like, all right, I can do what he does. It's easy. I'm stronger than him by far. The dude was killing me, man. You know what I mean? Like when you first get started, you know how it is, man.
Oh, yeah.
You think you'll overcome anything, not realizing it's all about the technique.
That's it.
And his technique was just as good as it could get, and he was just killing me, man. And so I spent the first 2 or 3 days just embarrassing myself. I went back, a couple of days after that, same thing, embarrassed myself. I finally got, I got to toss a chair, and I thought I was a man. Let's go. It's only it's onward up from here. And so the second week rolls up, got my chair to hands, and I got my toss to hands by that third week, and you had to have an extension to make the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so ended up, get my toss to hands press extension, and I could tumble already. I was a backyard tumbler, so it was nothing to tumble. So ended up making the team, and honestly, I just had so much fun with all the people. I was like, I'll stick around. And then I found out they were giving a scholarship. So not only I was already a full scholarship athlete, so I was like, so I'm gonna get this money and it's just going straight to my pocket? Oh, that's a bet. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I stuck around. A lot of fun, man. Just I fell in love with the sport, fell in love with the people. And I think more than anything, I fell in love with the fact that I wasn't good at it. I sucked. And you know how it is, man. Up playing ball on the track, playing baseball, basketball, whatever. I was good at all of it.
Yeah.
But I sucked at cheer, man. I sucked at it. I sucked at stunts. Like a lot of people, I wasn't very comfortable with being in front of a crowd. I always thought it was fake. I always thought that it was, beneath me as an individual, man. But the more I did it, the more I fell in love with it. The more I just thought like, dude, this is kind of my thing. Yeah. At the same time, my best friend was doing the exact same thing at Howard Payne. He was a football player and ran track, but he also went out for the cheer teams. I was like, well, you know what, man? At least I have a support system if this, if it falls through. So, dude, Travis, I just kept grinding. And, I got to a point where it was like, it was all I could think about, man. So I would go to practice, I'd go to track off season, run all morning, go throughout my day, hit football practice over like at 7, and then at 7:30 we'd have cheer practice, dude. And I was doing that, 3-4 times a week, and I was loving it, man. And it always seemed like in terms of where it was in the position of my day, it was the best part of my day. I got to end my day, with the sport that I love, man. And it honestly, that's kind of how it kind of drew me in. And I mean, I did that for 3 years because I started my junior year and I actually went up. And through like the end of my senior year, I did an additional year of my senior year, actually doing my first year grad work, kind of that coincided with my, I guess, super senior year. So I got done, and when I graduated, I ended up, my best friend at the time, she actually filled out this is back in the day. She actually filled out a UCA application for me, and she sent it in, mailed it in, all that stuff. I had no idea what it was. I got this letter, saying come to tryouts. So at the time, I was already a prorated athlete, and so I get this letter in, and I thought it was an agency, like, hey, come to this tryout. So I was like, I thought, like, you know what? I was a mud. I was just a dumb jock about it. I didn't want to read anything, so I just assumed like, this is a tryout for some, for some scout or whatever. Yeah, cool, I'll go. It's in San Marcos, so I'll go. So I drove from Abilene to San Marcos. I show up, and it says UCA. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not like a, I thought it was like United College Athletics or something. I didn't know what it was. As I walk closer, when I get out of my car, I'm like, whoa, this is there's a lot of chicks going in here. Well, wherever they're going, I'm going. Walk in, I see, yo,
That's how it
was a
usually
real
is for
deal.
the guys, right?
Yeah, man. And it ended up being a UCA tryout. Went in there, and dude, it was so crazy. I saw a dude do like a standing full, and I was like, yo, how do you do that? And he goes, what are you talking about? I was like, how do you do that? That's standing twist thing you do. Yeah, it's called a standing full. I'm like, that's bet how you do it. So it's like, let's go outside and I'll show you how to do it. So I'm like, all right, cool. And the thing is, this is the thing, man. People don't. I mean, I think you can co-sign on this. When you don't know that you're not supposed to do something,
Oh, you just go for it.
go for it.
Yeah.
Bro, this dude taught me the most jank standing full. I was like, well, if I'm gonna be stuck here with these people and it's not what I thought it was gonna be, then I want to be the best dude here because I'm trying to get all these chicks.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is, you hear your story, which is hilarious, and funny enough is very similar to a lot of guys. There's a lot of similar threads, but here's the difference, and here's the thing that people that don't know you and don't know about you don't realize. Y'all don't know what this man looks like. Y'all, when you hear, I was running track and I was doing this and I was doing that, people have, if they don't know who you are, man, they probably have this image of this track athlete build. Ellis McClain is built as wide as he is tall.
Yeah, dude.
He's as big around as he is tall. And I don't mean that and I'm talking, I'm talking like measurements are like, yeah, you probably got like, it's like 50, 40, 50. I mean, it's just a big boy. And I'm not talking, and for those that don't know, Ellis is not, the man is fit. I mean, he's solid. So you imagine hearing a guy that's doing standing fulls, a former track athlete, and for those that also don't know much about you, also in the skateboarding and all this other stuff. We're not talking about, an all-star tumbler from Top Gun. We're talking about one of the strongest, largest men on the planet right now doing all of these skills. And that's no knock on Top Gun. I just want to put it into reference. This is, guys, y'all are listening to one of the first hybrids in our sport, right? We talk about
when I started, there wasn't a lot of stumblers, man. There wasn't a lot. There was
Mitch Budlong.
Mitch Budlong.
There was David McDowell.
I think there was like Mitch. There was David. There was, you know what? And I got to give it up, man, because Jeremy Lumpkin
throwing fulls at his 260-pound behind.
Was throwing. I remember watching Big Lump throw a full. I was like, that is not possible,
right?
You know what I mean? But yeah, the OG GOAT. I mean, honestly, but people. It's weird to say was probably Mitch in term. Well, I take that back. It's Dave McDowell is probably the OG GOAT.
Well, and that's the thing is you look at, they're almost like they were same generation, but like one half step away, right? You had Mitch.
One half step away. I remember.
David was the phenom. High school senior throwing double ups.
Dude, I remember it was my first. It was my first college demo. My first state college demo. It was like, and I remember watching Dave literally, and this is, like, this is when, don't get me wrong, double ups have always been around, but this is when, like, they finally gave double ups the go ahead. I remember we go out there, and I think it was like a rewind. No, I think we opened with double ups, and it was like Josh McCurdy, I had hurt his knee.
So he wasn't tumbling then.
He wasn't tumbling right then. He had hurt his knee. David McDowell goes center stunt, double up. I'm talking as clean could be. Pops off, does a little. I forget what the transition was. It was like some like, I don't know, peg leg transition. Y'all go rewind, pop off, rewind, and then it's obviously transition to the first pyramid. As for they're making a transition to the first pyramid, of course I'm going to be on the bottom. We all make our transition to the first pyramid. Dave makes his way over to the side. Dave does, he goes, I think, 2 to double. It's on regular floor, right? There at Texas State. He does a double full, over rotates with his double full, and ends up doing like he dang near does almost a full and a half, a double and a half.
Really?
And yeah, he over rotates. Somehow he's able to roll out of it, stands back up. So he just did a double up and a double full in the same routine, not within possibly, I want to say, 15 seconds of each other.
Wow.
And I remember, I remember seeing him practice, like, dude, that guy is crazy. He's crazy. He's crazy. And this is when Dave was like, this is like at his prime, like, Kentucky Dave, just it was at the time, I think the top of the game at the time, I believe, was Dave McDowell and Keogh, but oh my gosh, what's his name? Oh, I can't believe I'm
Kentucky guy or
Kentucky, yeah.
Oh God, I can't.
His partner was Brooke. He won all.
Oh, Doug Stidham, Doogie.
Doug Stidham, yeah, it was Doogie.
Yeah,
and yeah, it was those guys were they were the Mount Rushmore, and even Doogie might he may have had a full, but you wasn't gonna see him throw at any time.
No,
he had a nice tuck. That's all you need when you can stunt like a god.
Oh yeah.
But I remember watching Dave. I was like, dude, this guy might be the greatest cheerleader I've ever seen in my life.
Here's the funny thing, man. A lot of people don't know this about those that are close to David know, but those that have maybe seen him through his previous stuff.
Yeah,
David was my coach at UF for 1 year.
That's right.
Before he went to Alabama.
That's right.
And I have tried on numerous occasions to get him on for an interview because David McDowell changed my life in more ways than one. Not only cheer, but also career-wise. Changed my life, and I have not been able to get him on the show. So if you talk to me, tell him I've been trying to get in touch with him. But I can tell you, so I'm at Florida, which we didn't compete, right? But we were decent. We were a mid-card. We weren't competitive, so obviously there wasn't a push for a whole lot of high-level skill. But I remember when David came in, I knew nothing about this guy because I had only been cheering at that point for 2 years, right? I got a late start. Right. And David, who, when he came in, is built like David is. Stocky, strong, big dude. He could stunt, he'd throw anybody on a rewind and a full up. And one day, I remember I asked him, I said, dude, you stunt like a madman. Can you, what tumbling do you have? And at this point, keep in mind, David's late, I think he might have been early 30s at that time.
He's early 30s.
So
late 20s, early 30s, yeah.
So he goes, hold on. He walks over to the corner of the floor, cold, no warm-up, punch front through the full in cargo shorts and a polo. And I'm talking punch front over people and a full. This dude was was 220 at the time and in his 30s. And so, I feel you when you say about David, and that's why I mean by David and Mitch being that half generation apart because Mitch is still doing it.
Mitch is still doing it at a high level.
Every single day.
And it's so weird because you will never, even to this day, you will never, ever catch Mitch's stunts not at the top.
Oh, no. He never, no bobbles.
He won't throw it if he won't hit it at the top. There's just... Those guys like that, they just have this sense of pride and in what they do. Mm-hmm. It's just, man, I honestly, man, I remember when I saw him do that in that demo, I was like, all right, man, I want to do this. This is the benchmark, to which everything else is going to be graded, man. And so from that point, I busted my butt to try to stunt like Dave, to try to tumble like Dave. I took tumbling classes to try to, clean up the tumbling. I wanted to look just as good as his looked, and that was my pursuit for, man, Travis, I want to say a good 3 or 4 years was this, man, I want to be as clean and as just well-rounded as Dave. And then I met Mitch, and it's changed. It literally changed. He gets credit because, I don't think we give him credit, but to me, Dave was like, oh man, it's hard to really, because he did so much for cheer. I think Dave was the Dr. J of cheer.
Yeah.
And then Mitch came, and Mitch was MJ.
Yeah.
Mitch is Michael Jordan that just he literally changed what you could do, the capabilities, because honestly, Dave, he's a big, strong dude, he had great tumbling, and, but when you saw Dave, you still saw this raw power with him,
Oh yeah.
like he had power.
Yeah.
And I never saw that combination, obviously, until I saw Mitch. But the thing that Mitch had that a lot of people that watched him, in his prime, was Mitch had control.
Mitch was
able.
He was the first one ever to get a shotgun rewind on camera, and this was when you had to take a camera to the gym.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and like it was, Mitch was hitting stuff. I always, I always use, like, for my UCA people out there that that remember those days. I call it before taping and after taping.
Oh yeah.
During the taping era,
when you had to
tape your skills. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, BT and AT before taping, when you had to tape your skills, you had maybe 4 or 5 tries and that's it. You know what I mean? Like that one and done mantra, man. That's where that comes from. Because you had one shot at doing it. There was no, hey, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. You had one shot at doing it. But yeah, man, Mitch, there's so many things that Mitch has done that guys are doing now, but I don't think people understand. Like, dude, he was doing those bad boys before they were even popular.
Yeah, he paved the way. And you talk about these legendary guys, and we talked about Doogie, but I feel like if you take and you put Doogie in that historical timeline, Doogie's like the Jerry West, right? Like, he's early on, he's pioneering, he's doing stuff that like just smooth as glass.
It's hard with Jerry. I mean, I would say Doogie would be Jerry West, and then that leaves the OG, the Godfather, Pat Wedge. Pat Wedge, I don't know what Pat Wedge would be. Pat Wedge is, the toss, QB, take the knee.
I don't know, man. You're getting back into tension rolls out of 3 highs.
And like
we call Jeff Webb, and we'll see what Jeff thinks about Pat.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because that would. I'm interested to see where Pat Wedge ranks among. He actually is the GOAT. Honestly, he did it before anybody. Did it. So, but yeah, then Doogie came and just revolutionized it. Dave came and polished it and added the whole tumble effect, and then Mitch came and made it an art form.
And then you got the offshoots like Andy Brown.
Andy Brown
just would take 2 human beings and put them over his head, and just as easy as one.
Andy Brown was probably the first gorilla that I ever saw. Like, dude, this guy he's an absolute just maniac. And Andy Brown was kind of that point of validation. Where, like, holy crap, dude, that right there is a giant. You know what I mean? This guy could be on somebody's football team killing, but he's throwing girls.
If you've never seen a human being fill out a triple XL polo and almost rip the seams, dude, Andy Brown was your guy.
Dude, Andy Brown was, golly, man. Yeah, those are the guys that I came up watching, man. From that 01 to about, I want to say, I don't even know when I stopped really going hard with my stunning, man. But I think right around the time that Deshaun, when Deshaun and Benji, when Deshaun and Benji got into the game, that's when I was like, all right, dude, I'm done. You got Deshaun doing,
he did it at Stunt Fest. It was a back handspring. There's a name for it, and I can't think right now. He did a back handspring front.
Yeah.
Rewind full up. It's got a name. I can't remember the dang name of it.
Yeah, dude. I was just like, okay,
that's just. Yeah, now you got guys like Colin Cockrell that just won UCA partner stunt doing back handspring hand skis, like hand ski full arounds, and I'm like, dude, this isn't even stuff that we thought was possible 10 years ago.
Yeah, man. Well, and then here's the thing, man. No knock on the guys, but now and the partners we had back in the day, dude, they were dope. They just, I feel like now the young ladies now, they are so they come ready to roll in terms of their specialty.
Oh, for sure.
Like where we had, with the girls that we had coming up, they were great top girls, man. They were great flyers, and they could do a lot of stuff. It was just, you had girls that, you're a tippy top, you're a mid, that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have, and now you have these girls that, they're still gymnasts, or they're, they decided, what, some of these girls that these guys are getting now, they're at some point they're high level gymnasts that decide, I'm going to give cheer a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first that I ever saw that were able to do that was like Miranda Nolan. Miranda was one of the first legit gymnasts that I ever met that was like, I'm going to give cheer a shot. And she's one of the best that ever did it. But now you're getting these young ladies that they have no fear, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, their air awareness is at such an acute and high level now that, I mean, it's just the norm now, and they're starting at these gyms a lot younger, a lot earlier. They're being introduced to these high level stunts, so much earlier than a lot of these girls are. So, Colin and a lot of these guys that are amazing, I mean, don't knock on them, but dude, can you imagine some of these girls with a Mitch or with a Dave? And that's the thing. There's so much stuff that obviously we'll never get, that people, your listeners will never have a chance to see that we've seen, firsthand, but I mean, got those guys. And I mean, I'd be remiss if I left out, even David Shook. I forgot about David Shook. I forgot about David Clemens.
Hey, you got to think about you got to expand beyond just our world, right? We lived in the UCA world, but you got to look at Big Mike from Louisville. You got to look at all the boys from Stephen F. back when, back in the early 2000s. You got to look at Mike May and April.
Dude, let me tell you something.
From Pro X.
Michael May was probably the first guy that I saw. I mean, I'd seen a lot. I mean, because SFA wasn't that far away, we played them enough that, we could see their cheerleaders. So there would be games that I actually would play ball. And when my sub went in, I would just watch the cheerleaders and saw like, dude, that's clean. I like those lines right there. Right. It was funny. I was trapped in two worlds, but Michael May was one of the first guys that I ever watched, that wasn't a UCA guy that I was like, oh man, this dude here is unreal. Mm-hmm. Absolutely unreal. Garen was the same way. Garen was, if UCA had Andy Brown, NCAA had Garen. Garen was a monster as well. I mean, but he was one of the first. He was really one of the first that, took an amazing and prominent, partner stunt career and actually, used it to propel himself as a businessman as well as a coach. And a lot of those guys, aside from, like Dave did a good job he was a great cheerleader, but he was also a really good coach. A lot of those guys, they, either they stayed or got out of cheer for whatever reason. But, those two guys are two of the ones that I definitely remember, my man, when Garen went to Hawaii Pacific and just, he made a dynasty there, dude. Mm-hmm. So it's just cool, man. It's crazy we're talking about this stuff, man. A lot of it takes me back, but yeah, dude, that was my era. That was, watching all those guys, growing up as a cheerleader, really watching those guys and trying to emulate what they did, and you're trying to get as good as possible. And the cool thing, like as a male in cheerleading, man, your shelf life, man, is a lot longer than, it seems like the older you get, you almost get better, and it's not necessarily
that old man strength.
Yeah, you get the old man strength, but I think more than anything, you start understanding just how, it's just weird. It's just almost like backyard physics. You start understanding how, how the turning of the hand, the turning of the wrist, and opening of the hand, and the surface area of the palm really, come into play when you're doing the stunts. And I mean, people don't understand, like, you don't get these stunts, you don't get them overnight.
When it takes time. You coach it so much, and you become so hyper aware of mistakes that.
Man.
You become an expert without even realizing you're an expert.
Yeah.
It's just like you when you're looking at a stunt, like it's crazy you say that, because I've had the same conversation now when, now working with stars, I have all these parents and these athletes are like, oh, like, why don't you cheer for Anacondas? Like, get on the world's team and this and that. And I'm like, I can't look at cheer the same way I used to. I can't look at it through the same lens because it's so hyper focused on every aspect of it that it's almost taken away the just the animalistic count to 8, throw the heck out of a stunt, tumbling. Man. Like it's so like I'm in this place where, as much as I would, like, I can't tell you how much every weekend I go to check on our athletes, make sure everybody's injury free, see if anybody needs anything. I sit there and watch our world's team and some of our high level, junior teams. I'm like, dude, I just want to stunt so bad.
Oh yeah, man.
I just got.
And you're never gonna lose that itch, dude. You're gonna hold on that forever. But I mean, I get it, dude. I mean, there's times like, my kids will be playing around. I'm like, dude, let me just, every now and then I'll hop in there just cause. Mm-hmm. But those 3 and 4 hour, stunt sessions, man, and just impromptu, I can't do that anymore, just because, that it's just, I know how it's supposed to look and how it's supposed to feel. And, you find yourself, especially when you become more of a coach on the coaching, and you find yourself analyzing it far more than you should. I find myself, I'm so overly critical with my hands, with the rotation, with the finish, with extension. I'm like, dude, I'm not having a good time because I'm so worried about the perfection of the art form rather than just enjoying it.
So take it a step further and add looking for what's going to cause an injury, and add that layer to it. And now you're looking through my lens, and it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, man. So it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna stand on the side and make sure that everybody's safe. I get it, man. It's a frustrating thing, man. But it's also kind of surprising when you look at your level of growth. You know what I mean? You have to. It's a point of evolution as a cheerleader that not a lot of people have an opportunity to do. A lot of people, they just burn out. They just burn out. They just like, I'm done with the sport, or they hurt themselves, so they're forced to leave the sport.
Sure.
When you're able to walk away from the sport by your own choice, by your own accord, it is a different type of appreciation. And you definitely, you're at peace with with the decision that you make, because you're doing it for a bigger purpose.
Absolutely.
And the one thing that ladies are very good at it that guys aren't in terms of cheerleading is guys do a horrible job in terms of, we forget, we don't know when to walk away.
Yeah.
Whereas, young ladies, they have a higher sense of self. Therefore, when they get to that point, they feel like it's time to walk away. The skills aren't what they used to be or whatever. They tend to walk away from it with a bit more dignity, and they don't just fizzle out, so, sure. And that's been, for me, that was always the thing. Like, you never want to stay too long. You never want to try to stunt too much. And of course, for me, I was fortunate that, I literally went from one sport to another sport, and now I'm lifting. So, that competitiveness, and those sessions, they've just changed from throwing a human being around to just throwing a bunch of weight around. So it's, I kind of, I got lucky.
Yeah. But it's funny you say that, a couple of points in that. First of all, it's a perfect segue into the next topic that I want you to talk about. But first of all, you talk about, I don't want to overstay your welcome, and guys having a problem walking away. There's a reason why when you look at your program and you have alumni day where the alumni show back up to hang out, most of it are the guys.
Yeah, man.
Rarely do you see the girls show back up. But, and continuing in that same direction, guys like yourself, guys like, the guys that are coaching in some of the high level, like Jomo and Leighton Clark and all these guys, and yourself included, instead of, not knowing when it's done, to hang up the wrist tape, so to say.
Right.
You've shifted into a way where you maintain your intention with growing the sport, but in a different way that is not yet established. And that's where that's where kind of our generation is at now, where you've got, people like yourself, you've got these other guys that moved into higher coaching, coaching positions, things like that.
Yeah.
My goal is to help our athletes in keeping injuries low, addressing movement imbalances and fallout, and just become well-rounded athletes. And a huge chunk of that is exactly what you're doing, which is why I wanted to get you on. One of the biggest reasons why I wanted to talk to you and get you in front of our athletes is to talk about what you're doing now and how that impacts, on a micro level, your own athletes, but then how your vision of that is going to impact the entire sport. So talk to us about how your powerlifting, your strength, and the focus you have on strength sports and how that is being translated into your program.
Well, the biggest thing, man, that has really, I guess, that I've been able to do, I mean, like I said, is really just been able to merge two loves, and I mean two passions really, which is, it's kind of cool. It's rare, but it's kind of cool that I'm able to do it. Because I've been a world class power lifter for some time. I have literally been in the presence of so many amazing and great strength conditioning coaches, amazing lifters, weightlifters, and powerlifters alike. Some amazing conditioning coaches, and what I've been able to do. I mean, like with a lot of things that you do, you tend to sponge on a lot of the things that come across your brow. You tend to soak up a lot of things that that go past your ear, and you're able to just take pieces from everyone, in their respective sports and their respective disciplines, and see how it can and will translate, to your other discipline. So with cheer, it's been fairly easy in that the biggest thing that you have to do, at least one of the hugest ingredients in cheer, is the whole idea and premise around the whole thing of power. You have to have power.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have some type of strength. It's absolutely impossible to compete or to operate, at any level in cheer, from level 1 to 6, 7 to whatever. You have to be able to have some form of strength, some form of power that can translate to the moving of a body. For me, what I'm able to do is, because I do it every day, and it's actually one of my businesses. I actually do a lot of strength conditioning programming for a lot of people. I'm able to use that to help my guys and girls get stronger. And it's kind of cool because, of course, we actually have a strength conditioning coach that's assigned to our kids, which is a godsend. Not a lot of colleges have that. Not a lot of universities have a strength conditioning coach that's assigned to them. But because we have one assigned to them, I have the opportunity, to at any given point in time, like, hey man, that works for them, that doesn't work for them. You can talk with the other coaches, like, hey, what we need to do? We need to work on some more explosive stuff. Now, with a lot of I want to say, the kids that I work with outside of my own, what a lot of the things we do are really focused on the whole idea behind explosion. And so a lot of times they're my guinea pigs for some of the programs that I end up running on my kids. But again, for me, I'm able to use my expertise and my passion in one realm and actually bring it over to the other. It's all about the betterment of the athlete, of course. I mean, your bread and butter is making sure that people are healthy, making sure that your athletes are taken care of. I mean, and I try to do the same. With me, the biggest thing is really, using the connections and using the sponsorships and all the people that I have in my life to make sure that my kids are taken care of. I mean, I can use, for example, with the A7 International, they do bar grip shirts, in which you actually have to basically it's so the bar doesn't slip down your back.
Mm-hmm.
If you were able to put a barbell on your back, and a lot of times, you get in a commercial gym or you get in a gym with a fairly used bar, it tends to slip down your back after heavy use, or as the heavier the weight gets, obviously the gravity takes a hold and it starts sliding down your back. So they actually have a bunch of products called Bar Grip that actually it's actually almost like a rubberized shirt where it doesn't slip. So we actually called a favor in with those guys, and they sent me 20 shirts for all of my top girls.
Nice.
And for all of my bases that have any type of shoulder stand. So the shoes don't slip off, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know how it is being at the bottom of a pyramid. You know,
Yep.
when you're the bottom,
Yep.
the shoulders aren't torn up. You know what I mean? Because the shirt's doing the majority of the of the lifting, so to speak. And of course, for our, in our routine this year, we actually had a lot of hand to hands. A lot of inverted stunts where we actually were pushing off the shoulder at one point. And for those it was actually pretty cool because they actually had a grip on the body because the body obviously was attached to the shirt.
Yep,
So
yep.
a lot of inverted stunts, those A7s helped out. Had another young lady that actually she almost tore her elbow, so her elbow was in pretty bad shape. So she was out for 3 or 4 weeks. And so when she came back, obviously you can't in all good consciousness put her on the mat with a huge Don Joy elbow brace because somebody's gonna get hurt.
Right.
So what we did is I called in a favor with Mark Bell in the Mark Bell Slingshot crew there in Sacramento.
Old Smelly Bell.
And yeah, man. And so he actually his crew actually sent me some elbow braces. And
Really?
so yeah, so we actually have took a measurement, sent it in that day. Literally, we sent the measurements in that day. 2 days later, her elbow sleeve was there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So I mean, it's cool being able to merge two sports, two loves. Even to the point that even we're as far as powerlifting and cheer goes, they're both in a position right now where they're trying to get that full Olympic recognition.
Yeah.
So those sports, they meet at Sport Accord a lot. Well, a few years back, it was actually a point where Jeff Webb and Gaston Paris, the president of the IPF, the International Powerlifting Federation, they met up. Literally, I think they were sitting side by side, and I think through a presentation that the IPF had about sportsmanship, I think I was a clip on that. And I think when it was all said and done, I think Jeff and Bill and those guys went over like, hey, that guy right there, that's LS, that's one of our guys. And of course, they kind of started going back and forth, put two and two together, and it's been pretty cool. Just because that's a new relationship that was built, just not necessarily because of me. I'm not gonna say that, but
you had a part in it. That's for sure.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now you fast forward, the last World Championship that they had in Orlando. This is crazy enough. I helped. He's actually the secretary of the IPF, but he's one of the higher ups of USA Powerlifting. He actually got a hold of UCF and their cheerleaders to actually do an opening ceremonies for World Championship. So it's cool being able to merge two worlds.
Nowadays you've got, just as of this week, that announcement of USAW and USA Cheer, which like I was texting with Colin Cockrell earlier this week when that whole merger happened.
Yeah.
And was said, man, it's I guess I'll be going to get my USAW because
yeah, man. I mean, but the thing is, it's awesome. It's an awesome opportunity, and USAW, they do a really good job of scouting talent.
Yes.
They scout talent from any and everywhere that they can find it, because with cheerleading, I mean, as far as the male goes, your movement that you do is you're doing a clean. You're doing a clean over and over and over and over.
That's it.
And if you watch pretty much just the physical aspects of it all, like, I mean, you're just replacing a bar with a human being.
Yep.
And it's cool because actually one of our best cheerleaders, I actually got him from a CrossFit gym.
Okay.
And his cleans, I mean, his cleans were just outstanding. His snatch was outstanding. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Yeah, man. And we had him for a couple of years, and he ended up being one of our best guys. It's so USA weightlifting. I mean, I think Colin was one of the main reasons why, because he does so well.
Yeah.
In both ends, I feel like he's a prime reason why they can, they can start going looking for this. Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense not to. And a lot of these guys, especially now with the insanely growing popularity of powerlifting, that you say weightlifting is like, well, I mean, weightlifting in general is starting to grow, and it's weird because the bro that you see at the gym that was doing curls is now over there trying to do squats and bench, and deadlifts, and the bro that was going to the gym that was just, doing a few, tricep kickbacks is now going to these CrossFit gyms and learning how to snatch
Yep.
and learning how to clean and jerk. A lot of these guys that are bros now, they all knew how to do a clean and jerk or a version of it in high school, when they played football.
Exactly.
So it's smart, I mean, I think for a while it was almost a bit asinine to assume that you couldn't train anyone to. No, you can't. It's not like you can train anyone, but if you have a good enough coach, you can at least put somebody in the position to find the best version of themselves in a weightlifting gym.
Oh, for sure.
And so USA Weightlifting, they've done a really good job about really, they're actually at the forefront of doing that, and it's one of those things where there's such a small window in terms of your body's ability to create that kind of explosion from 0 to 1,000. So, I mean, to catch these guys in their prime, it's super smart. So I think you'll start seeing a lot of guys with some, cheer backgrounds, that are going to be gracing these platforms soon and very soon. You know what I mean? So there's
the other thing is the females, and one of the first interviews I did was with Brian and Nicole Nichols, head coaches of West Georgia that just won their dynasty, continuing the dynasty over there. But Brian touched on the fact that like they use CrossFit style training for their team, including the girls. And once they got the girls into lifting weights, they're like we can't get them out of the gym.
Well, I will say this because, shout out to B Nick, by the way. He reaches out to me a lot just for just a bunch of different weightlifting ideas and stuff. He's a good friend. Love that dude. The one thing that I will say that, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of how Instagram is just, it's almost just kind of taking over people's lives in terms of look at me, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
But what it has also done, it has brought to light a lot of opportunities for people to get fit.
Sure.
While the fad now is to get fit, it's not necessarily the lifestyle, but the fad is the lifestyle, if that makes any sense whatsoever. For sure. Whether it be for a selfie, whether it be like, hey, you look at my butt, whatever it is, it's brought to the forefront the whole idea behind fitness, and it's helped the industry boom more so than ever. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, everyone knows, with the exception of your older crowd, your older generation that actually use, fitness really to stay healthy, a lot of it is really, vanity based. Fitness in itself is almost vanity based. Sure. But what it's able to do now is it gets a lot of young women that would normally just, not necessarily sit on the couch, but would just run, not eat healthy, and try to starve themselves to make sure they stay in the air. Now it encourages them to go get a barbell, go get some weights, lift it. It's not going to turn you into a dude. It makes people, and it's weird because people are still, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times, people are still, and by people I mean young women, they're still under this impression if I lift weights, I'm going to look like a man.
Yeah. I have athletes, young cheer athletes that I work with, where we talk about nutrition and protein and stuff, and they make that comment, and the argument I make to them is muscle mass is an expensive and hard to achieve end goal. There are guys with better hormones than you'll ever have for building muscle that spend their entire life trying to build it, and they will never build a single pound. So if you were to accidentally fall into 20 pounds of lean body mass because you picked up 90 pounds of barbell, then you are a genetic freak, and we need to be evaluating you in a lab.
Yeah, it's that little thing of testosterone and how it's able to just do its thing. You don't have a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not gonna strap on all this weight and all this muscle out of nowhere. But what you're actually gonna do is you're gonna put your body in a better position not to get hurt. Add a bit more strength, add a bit more explosiveness, and you know what? That full up that you're trying to get might actually rotate a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? That top girl, that top that you're trying to catch, for some reason she keeps popping off your leg every single time you try to get her in that one-on-one. Who knows? Maybe you'll actually be able to grab her and hold her up there.
Dude, my best partner was just weight alone, my biggest partner. And it was
Yes.
because she was a gym rat. She was
Yep.
strong as an ox. And to this day, she has her own online fitness business. She's still got it. She's had a little boy and a set of twins, and she still has a 6-pack and works out 7 days a week. And she weighed, and it sounds like, we talk about weight, like, pre-banning of the weigh-ins, right? But like, she was my super senior year. She weighed 117, which for a top girl on a co-ed team, that's a big girl.
Yeah,
but
man.
She was by far our coaches. All right, guys, warm up. We'll give you 5 minutes to warm up, and we'll start running through stuff. Toss Cupie, full up lib, full up Cupie. That was our warm up because it didn't take much effort because she was that strong. It was so easy.
Yeah, man. They do the work. I mean, it's almost like they do the work for you. I will take your 117 and I'll raise you about 20 more pounds. But I mean, my first partner, she was about 135, 140. My second partner, she was knocking on 150. But the weird thing was, when you don't know, you don't know. That's just what we had. So we worked with what we had.
Yep.
I was the biggest dude, so I was going to get the biggest girl. The cool thing was, the biggest girls, quote unquote, they had the best technique.
They did, because they're strong.
And they make you better, man.
Yes.
And then, when I did get a girl that was, 100 pounds, sub 100, I'm like, dude, I don't even know how to stunt with you. This makes no sense to me. So, I think at the end of the day, even when I got my first team, when I started coaching at Angelo, that was the first thing I did was like, you know what, man, I don't care what you weigh. You got to be healthy, number one, and number two, you got to take care of business. You do those two things, I will make sure you get in the air by any means necessary.
I love it.
And that's how it's been. I've lived that lifestyle. I've echoed that since day one. I'll give, if they ask like how much should I weigh, I'm like, well, cool. Let's check out your body type. Well, clearly you have far more muscle in your body than the average girl. Then so I think you need to be at least 130. Well, I know, but these top girls like 105 or 100. Like, well, listen, those other top girls aren't built like you are. It's just it's a case to case basis, and for me. I feel like there's a fundamental problem with telling a young woman you need to get smaller. Now I have no problem telling my guys you need to get bigger, you need to get stronger. But I can't in all good consciousness be like, hey man, you need to get smaller, because that's a lie. That's the biggest lie. One of the biggest lies in the cheer world is your girls need to be super small. They don't have to be super small.
For sure.
It has no, but what you can do, you can get some guys that can go in the gym and lift a bit, and you can get some girls that can get some technique down, and you can get yourself a team of people that become technical freaking juggernauts, and the next thing you know, you have yourself something special.
I can guarantee you right now, Jeremy Lumpkin, Doogie, and David McDowell, and Jason Keogh, and Mitch Budlong, and Mike May, and Big Mike from Louisville, I can guarantee you none of those guys ever looked at a girl and went, oh, well, she's too big.
No, man. You can't. But rather those guys, those are my era guys. Those are the guys like they look for. It was the challenge. Of, all right, cool. If a girl were to tell me, oh, I'm a base, I don't go in the air. That was a challenge to me. Like, oh, word. Okay, we're gonna see about that.
Right.
You're gonna learn to full up. You're gonna learn to full up before this session's over with.
I had a buddy I cheered. I never got to cheer with him. His name was Eddie, and Eddie was down around Gainesville when I was down there, and Eddie was built like you, but about 4 inches shorter. And he was just
oh my gosh, short.
Like, we jokingly did a shoulder sit one time and got a picture of it. And me sitting on his shoulders, I was 6 inches taller than Eddie was with me on his shoulders. Like it was. He's just a. But his big thing was, he said, "I will put any girl in a rewind." Any girl. And he did it. I swear to God, I watched him take a back spot. He came to one of our stunt clinics. Any girl that ever showed up, he's like, all right, can you do a back tuck? And they're like, yeah. He's like, okay, we're going to do a rewind. And he would land a rewind with anybody that ever wanted to do a rewind, Eddie could do a rewind with him.
That's how Stephen was, man.
Like, big Steph.
Yo, yeah, dude, Stephen literally, that's where I learned rewinds from, man. Like, I had him down, but he perfected the art of the rewind, man. He could rewind anyone. And so from that point, I was like, hey, you know what, man? I want to be like that. I want to be, just a big, strong dude that can literally throw anyone.
Absolutely.
I feel like if the guy's good enough, there's no such thing as a girl that can't do an elite.
For sure.
It might be a jank full up, but you know what? We can get her up there. So
If
yeah,
she can stay tight.
that's it. You just got to be able to stay tight. You know, jump a little bit, flick a little bit. I'll do the rest.
So
But yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think at the end of the day, man, that's what it's about. It's about being healthy, being happy, using what you have. And honestly, man, let's be honest, cheer, while it's a business and while we do get a paycheck from it in some, some form of fashion, it's just a hobby, dude. And you know what I'm saying? And it's a straight up luxury. And sometimes people treat this luxury like it's an absolute priority, and it's not. And when you start treating it like, it has its life, it's not life. It's a part of people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when people try to use it in a healthy, and performing it in a healthy way, a smart way, then you start seeing, one, less injuries, and two, you just start seeing better quality in terms of just the routines out there, in terms of the people that are cheering. Like, it's just, I feel like, we've hit a point at some points in cheerleading where it's about the popularity of the cheerleader, maybe not necessarily about the substances they bring to the table. It's about, the name of the gym rather than the routines that are being put out. It's about, honestly, the popularity of the program rather than the quality of the routines that they put out. Like, it's all about it's leaning more towards the okay intangibles, not the good stuff. Not like, hey man, dude, that program right there, they do a lot of awesome things in the community. That program right there, like, they really try to focus on doing the good things for their kids. Like, honestly, one of the most impressive programs out there that you don't hear a lot about is Grand Canyon. Yeah, the Keegan's run.
Keegan, yeah. Keegan, we had him on the podcast a couple episodes ago.
Keegan runs, that's awesome. I honestly, I wouldn't even think about it. Keegan runs one of the dopest programs and does it in such, how do I say it? It's such a productive, nurturing, and really, honestly, I just think it's a fun way. He runs a very fun, awesome program. You don't hear a lot about Grand Canyon. You know what I mean? Like, in your comparison to your Moorheads and, your Kentuckys and, your Louisvilles and all that stuff. And again, no knock on James, no knock on Joe, no Jomo, no knock on Mark or any of those guys, man. But I mean, dude, Keegan runs an awesome program.
Yeah,
Linda Gooch runs an amazing program at UCF.
And I'm telling you right now, he credits Linda. Mm-hmm. It's funny, he credits Linda, and I had Poochie on the podcast a couple months back. Poochie and everybody I've ever talked to from UCF credits Linda so much. I mean, for our young listeners, Linda Gooch is one of the movers and shakers, the game changers of cheer.
A groundbreaking coach, a groundbreaking coordinator, Linda Gooch is one of the, in terms of like the big schools, she's probably one of the first that I'd ever heard of that the athletic department was giving them straight back, and like, we want to back the program.
Oh yeah.
And I got to get to know her a lot better. Obviously, knowing Poochie and knowing Stephen and James Kersey being my really, really good friends. So I've been around the UCF program. I mean, wow. Actually before Stephen even started cheering there.
Okay.
Prior to 2002, 2003. So I mean, I've been around that program for a while. But Mike Pear was there when I first was introduced to the program. And Linda has always been such a sweet, just awesome person that runs such a tight ship, a well-oiled machine, that, I mean, you can't help but try to take a few pages from her book when you're in a program.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like, it's no secret, that Grand Canyon is run so well by Keegan. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has such an amazing, mentor and example to follow with Linda. She does things the right way, and I feel like, a lot of coaches out there, can learn a lot from Linda Gooch.
I feel like I may ruffle some tail feathers here, which I could care less. But I would argue, and this is, again, and you and I are the same, man. It's all about respect. Yeah. It's all about give respect where it deserves. But exactly. I would argue that given the same level of talent
I see where you're
to
going
Keegan's program that go to some of these big name recognizes,
I see what you did.
I see a powerhouse. I truly
without a doubt.
I see a power. I see a rival no matter what division they, whether it's D2, D1, D1A, I mean, whatever, I see a level of competency and ability to coach that, given this equal talent, team to team.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I see 2003 happening all over again.
Oh, without a doubt. I feel like Keegan's one of those. And here's the thing, man. I think I want your listeners, and especially youngins out there to listen to this part right here. And it's not me, soapboxing. The thing that we're able to do, because we're all kind of in that same pocket, the thing that we're able to do that we do very well with one another is we network and we communicate with one another. And there's certain stunts that I know for a fact that I can't perform. There's certain sets of baskets. Well, now I don't have to worry about it, but there used to be points where there was baskets that I did not know how to explain to a young woman. There's pyramids that are in my head that I had no way of really bringing them to life, that I had no problem calling, like, who's my pyramid guy? Who's the guy that really knows pyramids? Like, for me, it's Trey. And a lot of, so I mean, I'll call Trey, and Trey, hey, man, I need help with these pyramids. I'm trying to figure this part out. And he can help you on the spot. If there's an all-girl stunt, like, dude, I have no idea I want to take this co-ed stunt, but I want to make it look all-girl style. Then I can reach out to a Tony Nash, or I can reach out to, to John Chabret. Like, there's, we're able, because at some point you're rivals, but you're also friends, and I think the big thing that you can't lose in this game, especially as a coach, is respect. Keegan has so much respect from so many different coaches. You say you get, let's make it all even. Let's just make it even, Steven, across the board. Let's say that Grand Canyon gets the same talent that your Moorheads get, that your Kentuckys get, that your Louisville gets. Let's say for some reason, let's be dope with it. Let's say that for some reason Navarro decides to send their whole set of graduating sophomores all go to Grand Canyon. That completely changes the game, my friend.
It does.
Completely,
in my opinion, it gives an unfair advantage to Grand Canyon then.
Yep.
I mean, truth be told, because in everyone else's mind, they're still an underdog. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows the underdog story.
Man, dude, I really feel like, I honestly feel like, if Grand Canyon were to get just more talent, I mean, and it's no knock to the kids they have right there.
Oh yeah, the kids are great.
They have some awesome talent. They're great kids.
But that's like saying you're looking at the Patriots and the Cowboys. Like, they're both amazing, but one team wins a dozen Super Bowls in that much time, and the other team makes it to the playoffs. Like, they're both amazing.
It's all in the coaching, and there's Belichick. It's Belichick versus Garrett. I mean, I'm gonna go with Belichick, and I'm a huge Cowboys fan. Like, it's one of those things where I feel like Keegan has a mental wherewithal, and he has the connections, and he has the drive, and again, he has a respect from enough people that are willing to help him in terms of input, in terms of choreography and everything else, that program can march to Orlando and blow the doors off the place. You know what I mean? And you know how cheer is, dude. It just takes one group that that say Lumpkin's kids at Jones, they decide, like, I don't really feel like trying to go to Mississippi State or to Mississippi, or I don't care to go to Alabama. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to try to Kentucky. You know what? Let's go somewhere that, because guys do it all the time, especially guys. Fellas do it all the time. Like, bro, let's just all go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. That was the ring chasers in the mid 2000s, bro.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not gonna call names, but I got buddies that went to 5 different undergrads chasing rings.
Chasing rings, dude. So it's like, that ring chasing epidemic, dude, it was huge, man. I mean, there was guys and girls alike just chasing that bad boy. But I got a feeling, and I don't even know if it's ring chasing. It may be location chasing. I don't know. But I mean, something tells me in my heart of hearts, I feel like Hawaii is going to be making a power move soon.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I
want to plant a seed. In the interest of time, I want to plant a seed, and then we're gonna get to our lightning round.
All right.
But I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna have you back on for another interview, because trust me, we got so many topics that we can talk.
We can do this all day.
Here's my seed though, and you can Water it or you can stomp on it. Keegan Hubbard should be a coach for Team USA.
Ooh.
I'm not saying that the guy that Leroy and Leighton and Jomo, I'm not saying that these guys are not good, because clearly they've got a CV and a resume that are longer than anybody in the sport combined. But
So we're saying,
if you're not bringing Keegan on with his history, his connection with athletes, and just his just purity of personality, what you're missing out.
in addition to, I feel like him being on the coaching staff would be a huge move. I think it would be. You know, how about this? I think this would be kind of awesome. Okay, so, you know, we can take it a slight step further, because I think it would be kind of cool. So let's say every year Team USA puts a coach, like, you know what I mean? Like, they have their mainstays, you know what I mean? You know, obviously, you know, Savannah and Jomo. I mean, of course, Leighton, he's in and out of the thing, you know, with all his help. Obviously, Tony, you know, Leroy. I mean, you have your mainstays to stay there, but every year you have an addition, you add a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be that additional coach for the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I like
First round, I would definitely say Keegan, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think he would be an absolute amazing addition, you know, in terms of his insight and what he could bring to the table. You know, I would also say Ben Schreiber. I would say Ben. I think Ben's done an amazing job of what he got at Ohio State and what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a few of them out there, man. If you're, you know, I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, personally, I think that would be.
Now now again, going off that mindset that you're saying, is if you think about the direction that the sport is headed, right, with the Olympic standards, we're not going to have spring floors in the Olympics, bro. We're the only country in the world that has cheer on spring floor in any aspect. Everybody else is all dead mat. So if you're going to talk about bringing in people in different realms and different viewpoints and different styles, my opinion after Keegan, Victor Rosario.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, man. Come to the other side.
I like that.
It's a lot of experience and a lot of ideas, man. One of the top programs in the history. It may not be the rah-rah, sis boom ba, let's take a break for a minute in the middle of our routine with the music. But that's not the style, man. I mean, the style is a mixture. It's a mixture. UCA on a dead floor. So we need to get people that have a little bit of all-star. So I think Victor would be.
Oh, I think, that would be. I mean, you know, we could always, you know, I would also say Hank Light. You could always have Hank.
Yep.
I mean, there's so
many.
Oh,
there's so many.
There's so many, but I think, you know, I think that would be cool. Almost like, you know, kind of how the AP has its voting.
Yeah.
I would love for there to be a ballot. You know what I mean? Of potential coaches out there.
Why not? If the sport evolves and it turns into an Olympic sport, and we're talking about evolution of the sport and bringing on big names, I don't understand why there should be any reason why anyone would disagree that we have conferences of cheer in the country, and maybe we have almost like an AFC NFC. Maybe we have an East Coast, West Coast. And you pick, instead of Team USA, your Team USA comes from a national competition of conferenced teams.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Like maybe to split the U.S. up in quadrants. You know what I mean? And, you know, you have your, you know, I mean, how would you? I mean,
think about the Olympics, right? We got the NBA. Yeah. Everybody plays on their team. We have the NBA world champions. But then we draw from the NBA to make the USA team that goes to the Olympics.
Exactly.
So why do we not establish a professional level of cheer here, since it's going to be an Olympic sport, and we have conferences here that battle each other, and then we have our team try out of that.
That would be cool. Except, I mean, financially, it wouldn't be possible because I mean, even our top Olympic athletes barely get paid.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know what I mean? So that's it.
That's true.
Financially, I mean, in theory, it sounds absolutely amazing. You know me, I'm down. But financially, who's going to pay for it?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You
That's
know what I
true.
mean? Like, is this one more thing that varsity's going to try to bankroll? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, these entities have to, if they're going to exist, they're going to have to be separate of Jeff Webb's thumbprint.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
I mean, you got to think about it. Your latest kind of step outside is stunt, and so I mean, stunt's growing great, but I mean, I think you're right. I think room for another huge shift is. I think it would have to evolve naturally, man. It'd have to be something where like we have so many top quality athletes trying out for Team USA once we finally hit the Olympic platform that now all of a sudden we need some qualifiers outside of come and try out. You know, we have
or or just I think the easiest thing to do would just be you would have maybe a let's be honest. You could honestly do it. I mean, let me see. You know, you could have a West Coast type version, and let it be run by. I mean, to be honest, the money's going to be in the gyms. Yeah. So, Cali All Stars, they have that whole West Coast style. I mean, if you have the South part of the South or whatever, I mean, you have
Georgia,
obviously you have
Stingrays.
Yeah, I mean, you have Stingrays. You have So I mean,
Brandon All Stars.
Yeah, Brandon All Stars. I mean, freaking Top Gun. You know, I mean, you know, you could do that. Obviously, you have cheer athletics and everything. Like you might, you know, they could be bankrolled by the gyms possibly.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, I think that would be the best way to do it. To run it through the gyms.
Well, here's and then here's where I poked the bear before I stopped talking is how much money do the top guys in varsity have? Why would we rely on our grassroots guys to fund it? Because I can tell you now, varsity was just bought by like a hedge fund group a year ago for $4.5 billion.
Yeah, $4.5 billion.
So trust me, I think that our
the money's there to an extent, but part of that, but the same thing that's part of that same hedge fund group, wasn't that the ones that put Toys R Us out of business?
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna stop right now because if not, we're gonna go on till midnight. So we're gonna get into the lightning round, and then we're gonna make sure that everybody that's listening has a way to check you out more and check your program out more. So if you've listened to the podcast before, we do not prime any of our listeners on the lightning round. These are just things that we just want to put you on the spot and see how you react. So, first question. What is the most ridiculous fact that you know?
The most ridiculous fact that I know?
Yes, sir.
Oh gosh.
And remember, this is a PG-13 show.
Yeah, I was thinking. I'm trying to filter it. Oh man, sheesh. I'm trying to think of like a good one. I have so much, like just so much like useful, like I should say useless information.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not gonna do that one because I'm trying to think of one that's like kind of not. I mean, okay, I can tell you this one. This is actually pretty cool. I think. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Okay, let's go with this one. Humans. I'm pretty sure it's. Humans are we're the only animals in existence whose brains shrink.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
over time.
The older we get, our brains they start to shrink.
I can tell you right now, I don't know that fact, but I feel like it sounds right. I think you're right. Yeah, because I mean that's part of degenerative cognitive diseases is parts of the brain shrinking,
like Alzheimer's and dementia.
Okay. I dig it. All right.
Yeah. I think we're the only animals that it does like that.
All right. Second question. That was a good fact. I'm impressed. Second question. What's the best type of cheese?
Oh man, I would say honestly, pepper jack, dude. I love pepper jack.
That's a good one.
I mean, I'm a burger. I love eating burgers, dude. So I'm always throwing that pepper jack on it, 2 and 3 slices.
See, I've always been a blue cheese fan.
Oh, dude, I don't like blue cheese.
You love it, hate it. You love it or hate it. There's no,
yeah, man.
There's no middle
There's no
ground. You don't
between.
kind of like blue cheese.
No, never. I don't know anybody that just like either like, oh my god, yeah, dude, I have that blue cheese. I'm like, nah, I'm straight.
You love it or it makes you vomit.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Okay, I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed. All right, next question. There's so many good ones. If you could sum up the internet in one sentence, what would that sentence be?
Time. Just it's time.
So you took it to one word.
If I could sum it up, like it's just time. It can either be time consumption, it's just it's hard, man. It's sometimes it's useful time, but 9 times out of 10 it's useless time. You don't necessarily need it, but people have made it so that they feel that it's an absolute necessity. Where were we? I mean, for those people that can remember that far back, where were we before the internet? We were fine, dude. We were okay.
No, that's true. That's true.
It's time.
We used to print out MapQuest instructions.
Yeah, man. Like, so it's time. It's good time. It's bad time, but overall it's time. It's a lot of time consumption. So to sum up the internet, I would definitely just say it's time.
I like it. And our final question: if you could come up with a nice insult for someone, how would you nicely insult someone?
Oh man. You know what? I would say you're not ugly. You're just a pretty monster.
I love it. I promise you right now, that is the title of this podcast interview.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I like that.
An interview with the prettiest monster.
Yeah, man. There it is.
Well, Ellis, man, I cannot thank you enough for coming on me, man. There is so much more that I want to talk to you about. So many more topics that I think we could touch on in the future episodes.
Without a doubt. Whenever you need me, I'm here, brother. So whenever you need me.
For those listeners that have enjoyed this interview with LS, we're gonna have his contact information in the show notes. We'll also have ways to get a hold of him and also links to his page, lsmcclain.com, where you can learn more about him as a powerlifting athlete, some of his products and things that he's got in his shop, which are awesome. Some of his clothing line is incredible. And also just learn more about him outside of just cheer. But there is way too much to cover in one episode. We have to have you back on in a couple of weeks. And I can't wait to get this episode out to our listeners because, I mean...
For sure, man. I'm definitely going to have you on mine. We might be able to kill two birds with one stone, man. And you know what I mean? So my listeners can get more of the cheer doc in their life, and at the same time, you'll be able to throw that link up as well. And so we might be able to knock out 2 interviews at one time and cover more ground. 2 heads are better than one, for sure.
I love it, man. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you later. For our listeners, make sure to check out the show notes so you can learn how to learn more about LS. And if you're interested in Texas State cheerleading, if you live in the Central Texas area, interested in Texas State cheerleading, make sure to check out his information in the show notes so you can get more information about their program, things that they expect out of their athletes, and what they're looking for to help grow their program. Thanks so much for joining us, man. We'll catch you soon.
All right, man. Later, brother.
Take it easy.